Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Jess. So Bitcoin has continued to slide downwards as the market slows down over the Christmas and New Year period. The latest correction has taken Bitcoin to retest an extremely important level of support and placing it in a critical position. We're going to dive into the video today to talk about the daily time frame and the recent daily candle close, as well as what's going to validate the potential bottom here for Bitcoin or continued bearish movement. As always though, before we get into all that, make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. If you're after even more content, be sure to check out my free Telegram channel, and if you're interested in my VIP channel, you can get more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setup, so the exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. So over the last 2-week period, after Bitcoin topped out at $108,000, we have seen steadily decreasing price action. If we take a look at liquidations and volume and open interest, naturally as we approach the holiday period, everything has been slowing down a lot. We can see even yesterday we didn't even reach $5 million in long liquidations, and overall we can see here open interest and volume has been steadily decreasing over that 2-week period as well. Now as Bitcoin has continued to drop, we have started to retest and are currently retesting a huge level of support and some really key indicators on this daily time frame and on the short time frame as well that suggest that Bitcoin should be very close to approaching the bottom of its drop here or risking a much steeper correction. So we're going to dive into the video today to talk about what exactly we're looking at in terms of those validations and what's going to signal some real bullish strength from Bitcoin, and that it is time to, confirm that the bottom is in and we are due for a move back upwards to 108 and possibly beyond. Before we get into the rest of the video, guys, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor, BTC. We can get 15% off all of your trading fees and up to $5,500 in sign-up rewards when you create your free account using the link down in my description box. BTC is an emerging cryptocurrency exchange committed to providing you with a secure, convenient, and highly functional trading and investment platform. Available across all countries as a non-KYC exchange, get global access to over 150 trading pairs with minimal fees on both spot and futures contracts. Join today to get $5,500 in sign-up rewards and get 15% off all of your trading fees by signing up using the link in my bio or by using the code 1GG3 when you create your account. So taking a look at our daily time frame over here, we can see that in Bitcoin's most recent correction, so this red candle here for the daily chart, as well as the candle close on the 20th, 3rd, and the 20th of December, we went on to retest this really crucial level of support here, the 50 EMA on the daily time frame. Now this is a really important indicator because it essentially suggests how well Bitcoin is holding the current trend trajectory, the current, volatility of the price action and the momentum as well, but also in breaking below the 50 EMA generally suggests anywhere between an 8 to 20% correction on the daily time frame. If we take a look at historical price action, just taking a look at that prior 8-month channel of consolidation we had here, Bitcoin continued to chop within that 50 EMA or around that 50 EMA range, and until we broke out of the structural pattern that existed here and sustained above that 50 EMA, did Bitcoin finally see a rally that took us all the way to $108,000. Once again, in the past, we can see dropping below that 50 EMA, we see anywhere between an 8 to sometimes even 20% correction if we take a look all the way back here. So generally not a great sign, right? But it also means that in holding it as a base of support, we can also facilitate bullish continuations and reversals as we saw over here. So if we take a look at the price action right now, that is currently what Bitcoin is doing. Our most recent daily candle close had a small wick below it, but we closed above that level of support. Another indicator that also supports the importance of this most recent 50 EMA retest is the Ichimoku cloud once again on the daily time frame. So if we pull that up, we can see that our most recent daily candle close was very close to actually retesting the top of our Ichimoku cloud here, or the leading span A. Now, in a very similar nature to the 50 EMA, the Ichimoku cloud, particularly on the higher time frames, can act as a really strong level of support and confluence for analysis that sort of identifies the bottom of corrections and reversal points. For example, if we enter the cloud here, we can expect a continued bearish movement into the cloud, obviously, and towards the next level of support in this indicator being the leading span B. And otherwise, in holding support at the 50 EMA and the top of that cloud, we can then expect a reversal back upwards. So essentially what this daily chart is sort of telling us with this blue trend line, the 50 EMA and our Ichimoku cloud, is that Bitcoin is starting to approach a sort of tipping point where we should either be expecting or waiting for confirmation that this 2-week long period of downtrending price action is ending, or that Bitcoin is about to exit this horizontal channel of consolidation here, and we are likely to see a further correction downwards that takes Bitcoin to then go on to retest these next crucial levels of support. First of all, at $86,000, right? The range low for our recently mapped monthly uptrend, as well as the sell side liquidity all the way down at 85K with confluence at that leading span B, or the base of our Ichimoku cloud as well. So a really crucial moment for Bitcoin. I know the price action is really slowing down, but it is really time to be paying attention. Dropping below our leading span B and 85K or sell side liquidity there is when we can kind of expect much higher time frame bearish corrections like macro, right? Where we expect retests of $82,000, the end of that volume gap there, and then we have our next peak of support at 76, and the largest being all the way down here at $68,000. And those sorts of corrections are when we'll start to see really macro levels being retested on timeframes such as the 3-day chart and the weekly chart that suggests that Bitcoin could be, potentially topping out. Until then, the short time, well, it's not necessarily short time frame, but the high time frame is still overall bearish, but we're not seeing macro bearish sort of validations just yet. Now, we haven't seen bullish validations for reversal yet either. So let's go ahead and switch the narrative. Let's talk about what we need to see to actually confirm that Bitcoin is reversing here and we are due for a move back upwards to 108K. So if we take a look at the 12-hour chart, we can see that we have two key trend lines on the RSI and one key trend line here on the price action to be watching out for in terms of confirming a reversal. So first of all, let's talk about the most high time frame one over here. In the last month, we can see that while the price action has been moving relatively upwards, excluding the last 2 weeks, we have been seeing decreasing momentum and buying strength across that monthly period, right? So exhaustion from the buyers. And of course, that bearish divergence here eventually led to our correction, which then leads us to our secondary trend line here on the RSI, being the one that confirms the 2-week long downtrending price action here on the PA as well. So essentially what we need to see to confirm a reversal on the short time frame is pretty simple. That's going to be a breakout of these two trend lines here on the RSI, right? So that's going to, the RSI and price action. So to break out of a trend line, obviously there's the structural break of the actual, line itself, but also a move above the prior high in that downtrend, being resistance at $102.5 thousand. That is going to confirm that the narrative has shifted and will most likely be led by the RSI breaking upwards first. Now, after breaking above this level of resistance here at $99 and $100,000, what we're going to need to see then is on the high time frame, so this larger trend line, we need to see that broken as well. So that's going to tell us that this move upwards on the short time frame has been strong enough to push Bitcoin to shift the narrative on the high time frame, and the buyers are stepping back in to enough of a degree that we're shifting this much higher time frame or monthly narrative. And that is when we can expect then that Bitcoin is going to move all the way up to $108,000 and break above as well. Until then, the overall price action is still very much bearish as we approach these sort of crucial levels of support at the 50 EMA on the daily time frame and the Ichimoku cloud. So be warned, the price action is looking very important, and I'm very curious to see how this plays out. This is a very risky time to be taking any sort of positions. I would just be watching and waiting and seeing, I guess, what the price action ends up confirming and validating on these time frames. Now, before we wrap up the video, I do really quickly want to touch on total 3 because it does look like on this chart here that we're very close to potentially breaking out of the top of our parallel channel / bull flag structure over here. So for those of you guys who missed my last video, essentially what total 3 has gone on to do in the most recent sort of period of correcting price action is retest two sort of really critical levels of support. First of all being $950 billion, the prior high within that sort of downtrend over here when it topped out back in 2021, and then our dead cat bounce level of support / resistance at $840 billion. So the recent price action has shown us that after the correction, we found support at 840, that dead cat bounce level. So that's our key high time frame or macro bullish validation. So that's a good thing. And we were kind of looking after that retest for the signal that total 3 is reversing and it's time to look for a continued bounce. So we went on to see a flip of support here at $950 billion as well, which is a really good sign. We can see that we're holding support right there, as well as on the 50 EMA, once again on total 3 on the daily time frame. And if we zoom into the 4-hour chart, we can see that we're actually starting to consolidate against that level of support in a descending wedge pattern. So once again, a bullish structure here, telling us that total 3 is very, very close to breaking out over here, right? So that takes us to $1.1 trillion. Let me just really quickly make sure that's visible on all intervals. And going back to our daily time frame, that also takes us to break out of the parallel channel structure, which of course has a much larger measured move, and taking total 3 back up to retest 1.13 trillion being the all-time high, as well as buy side liquidity at 1.16, and potentially breaking above that, pushing altcoins back up into parabolic bullish territory. So very, very critical moment for total 3 as well. And with Bitcoin dominance being as high as it has been for the last couple of weeks, a lot of that rides on what Bitcoin's next segment of price action is going to look like. Alrighty guys, that is all the analysis that I have for you today. If you enjoyed the video or you learned something, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're after even more content, be sure to check out my free Telegram for daily updates as well as crypto and economic news. And if you're interested in my VIP channel, you can get more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. And if you are a trader, don't forget to sign up down below to BitUnext to get 15% off all of your trading fees. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.